If you've ever walked into a room, a store, a job, an apartment building, and you were the only Black woman there, this video is for you. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Sonia Dee, a woman in her late 30s who has decided to start life over. On this channel, we believe it's never too late to start over in any place, anytime, anywhere. So welcome. Okay, so in this video, I really wanted to share my experience of moving from a place and a space where I was part of the majority in Africa as a Black woman, and where I am now in Europe, Central Europe, as part of the minority. I want to share what that has felt like, what it has looked like, the feelings and thoughts that I've had to navigate coming to this realization. And I hope it will help someone else who's going through this or who anticipates going through this if you're thinking of moving over to the side of the world. So listen, when I first moved here, I didn't feel the weight of being a minority immediately. I mean, I had come to visit a couple of times on holiday. Growing up with my parents, we traveled to this part of the world. So, you know, being in the minority, the few, was not necessarily new for me. And also I had been living in Johannesburg, South Africa for over 10 years, where in essence I was part of the minority because I was a foreigner. And so being in the minority wasn't necessarily something new. And when I first got here, I didn't feel it because I was with my sister. I was so excited. I was so thankful that my dream was coming true finally. And I was really starting to settle into that. And I would say it was probably 4 months in that I really started to feel it. So I'd say the first time I started feeling it was when I would get on the public transport, a bus, a tram, the metro, and I noticed that people were looking, people were staring. This was new for me because where I was coming from in South Africa and in Zimbabwe, nobody really cared that much or stared like that unless it was like appreciation. But here people were just like really looking and curious as if they'd never seen someone like me before. And really some people would not have come across a Black person in person before. And it started bugging me, and I think I got into my head quite a lot, and I would feel hyper vigilant, and I started minimizing my actions, my movements, just wanting to be closed off, headphones in, watching something on my phone, just looking down, not wanting to engage because I was just so nervous and anxious about what this meant. So I didn't really like how that felt. And then it started to extend beyond that. I felt it when I'd go into the grocery store or into a shop and realized that I was the only Black person. And I'd feel it when I get to the counter. I didn't know the language. I have to engage with these people. I need to ask them questions. I would actually not ask questions. I would have to go in and figure stuff on my own. But yeah, I would definitely feel out of place. And not only that, I think where I also really felt it was when I decided to get my health on track and I joined the spinning club, the spinning gym. I'd never done spinning before. I was introduced by a friend, shout out Patty. And I just wanted to take time, to take care of my health. And again, where I was coming from, it was normal. You go into these spaces, you're exercising, whether you're by yourself, or with friends, it didn't really matter. And the first time I did go in with friends, so I didn't feel it all that much. So I was excited to come back again, and I decided to return on my own, and I immediately felt it. I felt it in the dressing room, and to be fair, I'm sure a lot of it was in my head, but I felt it. You get in, you're the only one with your skin color who dresses a certain way, who does certain rituals. that are different to people in this culture. Something simple as when I would want to shower after spinning class, I would have my clothes on, take them off near the shower, get into the shower, wrap myself, oil myself down after showering, do the whole thing. Whereas, here it's not out of the ordinary for them to just get naked in the dressing room, go into the shower, come out and get dressed without lotioning or anything. Not knocking on anyone's rituals, but just those subtle differences made me feel like I was standing out. Like, oh my gosh, am I doing something wrong? Should I also just be like walking out, not lotioning, just getting dressed, just be free with my body too. So it just caused me to be alert, attentive, or even getting into the class, I would become hyper aware, like noticing that people were not coming to sit on the bikes directly next to me. Not all the time, but sometimes, and it didn't happen often, but when it did, I would be in my head again, like, am I smelling? Is my scent different? You start having all these questions. So I would really would feel quite alone in those rooms and without really anyone to talk to. This extended to places of leisure. I remember going to places like the theater where you have to dress up and there's certain protocol and things like that. And again, this is not something that was new to me because of my background, how my parents raised me, what I've been exposed to. But you'd get in there and people are watching you and maybe wondering how you're in the space, how you know how to, dress or act when you're there. And, I really felt alone, even though I had not gone there on my own. And I would have to always check myself. Am I doing everything right? Am I following protocol? Am I, the societal expectations and things like that? I would really feel it. Or if it was going into a restaurant, going to festivals and things like that. And also when it came to going in at work, I would feel different because of my eating habits were different, what I liked to eat, how it smelled, it was different. And that wasn't on anything to do with the people I worked with. It was just, I would feel it because it was a bit obvious. I wasn't like everybody else. It was really painful. And it got to a point where I did not want to leave the house anymore. And I remember telling my sister, I just didn't want to get out because I didn't want to have to face all the looks. I didn't want to have to face the reality of being so different. I didn't want to have to face all the questions that would come up within me and doubting myself, where before I had this, silent confidence about who I was and my value and my worth. Here I was questioning it all because people like me are so rare. Like I can go weeks without seeing a Black person or person of color, and being made to feel like I'm a pariah almost, and probably not on purpose, but I'm just expressing my experiences here. So I was struggling heavily with that, and I did not want to go out and face it any longer, and I just wanted to lock myself up in the rooms. So yeah, I was hypervigilant. It's the reality of being the only one in the room, not just the room, the building, the square, the city. You really feel that, and you start to ask questions, am I not good enough, or am I too much? You start to shrink yourself without even realizing it, and definitely not a good feeling. It definitely chips away at your sense of worth. It's not just about being the minority and sticking out, being so visible because you're so different. But there's also a level of invisibility, because you're so different, no one really knows how to handle you or engage with you or whatever. You're just left out there and you have to figure it out. There's a lot of figuring out that comes with being the only Black woman in the building. Remember to get your beverage. We like to sip here. Today I'm having some rooibos chai tea with some almond milk and honey. So like I said, it does impact your self-worth. And especially as a person who I would call myself ambivalent, I'm not fully an extrovert and neither am I fully an introvert. I have elements of both. However, based on my upbringing, based on my personality, I also tend to be quite reserved and quiet in certain moments. And in general, I tend to be in my head a lot. I overthink and I'm quite sensitive. So as a quiet woman, when you're placed in this position, it really does make you question your worth and your sense of belonging. You know, you start asking yourself things like, do I actually belong here? Did I make a mistake? I started questioning, you know, my decision to move here, even though it was crystal clear before I came, even though I was so excited and it made sense to me. I started questioning, did I make a mistake? Do I really belong here? Will I ever fit in here? And it started chipping away at my sense of self and my value and my worth. Without realizing it, I started thinking, am I being overlooked because I'm different? Whether it's, am I being overlooked at the store, for opportunities, for kindness and respect, whatever space I'm in. I started just really thinking, oh my gosh, I might be passed over because I look so different to what is usual here. Even if it may not have been true, it's just the reality of how you may feel. This is how I felt. And like I said before, I really started thinking, should I tone myself down more? Like, I remember when I first got here and back when I was home, I loved dressing up. I would love putting on a lippy, having my hair did all the time, looking, you know, good, dressing up. And after a while, I started thinking, okay, this is getting you attention. We don't know if we like this attention, so let's just turn it down a notch. I started dressing a bit less out there. Stop putting the lippies, all of these things, the crazy hairstyles. I mean, but it's also to do with pricing and accessibility. Let's get that clear. But I just felt like I needed to just hush down a bit because I felt too exposed. But you know what? The truth is, you have to remind yourself that your worth is inherent. You're gonna have to work overtime to speak to yourself, to look in that mirror and remember who you are and where you've come from. And remember the experiences you had prior to this so that you can realize that this has to do with the transition you're going through. And that's the thing with transitions. That's the thing with change. You know, it comes with a lot of uncertainty. It comes with a lot of experiences, feelings, thoughts that you may not have had before. And it can drown you. It can make you doubt a lot of things that you were sure about before. So you need constant reflection time. You need constant questioning. You need to question those natural ways of thinking, those negative spirals. And it's also helpful to have a community that shares their experiences with you. That's why I started this channel. That's why I'm sharing this content, because I know how tough it was for me. It was helpful having my sister and other people around me to encourage me. And even before I came, it was helpful listening to other creators, Black women living on this side of the world. So I hope this will help just one woman understand that what you're going through is normal. Or if you're preparing to come, brace yourself, prepare yourself, and have these constant moments of reflection where you speak kindly to yourself. You sit with yourself. Yes, you understand what seems to be happening, but question it, push back. You know, was that person being intentionally unkind? Did they not sit next to me on the bus because I'm Black? Or, you know, look around. I started noticing they don't sit next to each other even. You know, they're all about their personal space. So then you start depersonalizing a lot of this stuff, and it helps you to calm down and remember that you are valuable as a person. In fact, you're shining. That's probably why you feel all this attention is on you. You're a gem. You're rare. Of course, people are going to be curious. So yeah, just remember that. Just because you're in a certain room, that does not determine your worth. It's inherent. Your worth is there, whether you're in a room in Africa with billions of other Black women, or you're in a room in Central Europe and you're the only Black woman in that room or in that building. Okay, so It's really important for you to start seeing your rarity as gold. You need to start shifting your thought process from, oh my gosh, I'm the only one, to, wait, I'm the first one. I'm the rare one. I'm the sacred one. Listen, I am opening these people's minds to something they have never experienced before. I get to represent that. And don't take the weight of having to represent perfection, because that's something else I really took on, and that's a journey and a story. That's a whole other episode on its own. But the point is, you are rare, you are sacred, you are different, and try to see it as a good thing, right? See it as a gift, as a blessing. And a lot of the times it is, and having been here almost a year and a half, engaging with people online and in person, I've actually come to realize a lot of the people here, especially the Czech native people, really, really just are mesmerized by us. We're so different to what they're used to. And I've done a video about how Czech people are comfortable with what they know, which is why it often feels like you're being judged or stereotyped or whatever. And so when you're stepping in there with all this black magic, it can feel like they get a bit like, woo, heads start spinning. And that's okay. You don't need to apologize for that. And they don't want you to apologize for that. Own it. Walk in it. There's something unique and rare and beautiful about you. And I wish more of us on this side of the world would sit in that, would, express that more. It takes so much work to unlearn invisibility, so much. And, this is an ongoing conversation between me and my sister. And, she's one of the most confident people I've ever come across. And even I've seen her a bit rattled by this thing of feeling invisible or too visible. And it's helpful to sit with that, feel it. How does it feel? Where is it coming from? How true is it? And then reframe that. It takes work, but it's important for your survival here, and not just your survival, but for you to thrive, for you to actually enjoy the life that you came here to build for yourself, that you rightfully deserve to build for yourself, just like anybody else. You have to do that work. And so I had a few tools that really helped me that I want to share with you guys. Okay, ready to take some notes? Okay, so one of the first things that I think really helped me, even before I landed here and while I was here, was consuming content of other Black women in Central Europe or predominantly white cities, countries, environments, right? And I'll show you my two favorite YouTubers that really helped me. Just seeing them do everyday life in this part of the world, still smiling, still, feeling themselves, still getting their nails done, their hair did, still talking like their beautiful Black selves, was just comforting. It really helped me to realize that it's possible for you to curate and build that life and still be yourself, even in this environment that can tend to make you feel so different. So I would say find YouTubers that you connect with, that you resonate with their message. Hopefully I'm one of them. But seriously, find people who talk your language. Even podcasts, one of my favorite podcasters is Myleik Teal, and she's a rarity in her own field, not necessarily when it comes to her race, where she lives, but in terms of what she's done in business, in her career. She was the first, and she didn't really have an example, so she's left a lot of cliff notes for those of us coming behind her, and it just helps you feel less crazy through that process. So find the podcasts, find the YouTubers, find the IG content, TikToks. TikTok also really helped me a lot, because then you realize you're not the only one going through, you're not the first one, you probably won't be the last one. Other people have survived it, they've thrived in it. So will you. Something else that's really important is shifting your mindset. I think being the only Black woman in the room, in the building, in the city, you can start to feel like, oh my God, I'm a burden. Like, I'm so different. I have different needs. I mean, something simple as hair care products. It's difficult for us to find products to care for our hair, our shampoos, conditioners, hair food, braiders, black women, people who do black hair. It's so hard here. It's not catered for, and understandably, because there's fewer of us. We're a really small percentage of the population. And so you can start to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm a burden, like what I need is just takes so much to get, let me not put these people in uncomfortable situations or whatever, but you need to reframe that, and realize that your presence is not a burden, it's power. It's power. You are powerfully informing the people around you about what is out there. You're powerfully rewriting the narrative about people who look like you. You're powerfully standing tall for yourself and for every black woman who's going to come behind you, after you, So see it as power. Stand still in that truth, because that is really what it is. And I'm all about energy, and the energy that you bring forward, that's the energy people feel, and it will attract and draw certain things, certain people, certain experiences to you. So stand in that presence of power and watch how things will unfold much more better, much more beautifully for you. Okay, another tool that was very helpful for me and is daily affirmations. I may not say them every day, but often, something I like to do is mirror work, looking yourself in the mirror, you'd be surprised how difficult it can be for you to look yourself in the eyes, in the mirror, and feel immense love towards yourself and feel acceptance for yourself, especially if you're struggling with these negative thoughts and feelings, or if you have some unfinished business, things you haven't really worked out within yourself. It's important to do that mirror work. Look into the mirror until you feel comfortable enough to stay there without looking away quickly, without getting overly emotional. Allow yourself to get emotional initially, cry, whatever you need to do. But it's helpful for you to really look at yourself with that tenderness, that love and care, and say really kind and uplifting things to yourself. Because if you're not doing that, ain't nobody else doing it. Trust me. Especially in this part of the world, you're alone. You are here, you're doing this thing alone. Nobody's coming to save you. You will build that community in time, but like I said, you attract the energy you build up. So you want to build positive energy. So look yourself in the mirror, say loving things. One of my favorites is, Sonia, I love you. I really, really love you. Simple as that. It does wonders. You'll be amazed being able to say that to yourself. Or another one that was very helpful for me is, I deserve the goodness coming my way today. Something as simple as that. Or, things are always working out for me, no matter how it looks. That one, chef's kiss. Always does it for me. Repeat it constantly, whether in the mirror or just to myself. It really does wonders. So find affirmations that speak to your core, and that speak to the situation that you're going through. And also journaling. That's a biggie. I've journaled since I was a teenager. And there's just something about putting your thoughts on paper, organizing your thoughts on paper, but also when you write out affirmations, it cements in your mind, So take the time, especially when you're struggling with certain specific thoughts, take the time to journal, even those prompts that you say to yourself in the mirror or in your mind. Write them out, see them, take them in, allow them to become a part of you. So journaling is really, really helpful. And finally, building a community, physical community. Again, I was blessed. My sister was here. But open your eyes. You have access to amazing people around you once you change your perspective, once you allow yourself to see that, whether it's at work. I found some amazing people at work, whether it's in clubs and places that you go to. I've met some amazing women and people when I've attended spinning class as well. And yeah, just allow yourself to build that community, and it can even be online, like us here on this YouTube channel. Talk to each other in the comments. You never know who's around the area that you're in. encourage each other. Please leave comments, share your experiences with us, and let people know and feel that they're not alone. So to close off, here are some practical tips for you, the woman about to start over, transition in a big way in your life, whether physically or otherwise, and feeling uncertain, and a bit nervous about what's up ahead. Here are some ways that you can feel grounded and more safe as you experience this. And I'm speaking more specifically as being a Black woman, the only Black woman in the space, in the building, in the room. Very important, do not wait to feel seen. See yourself first. Like I said, do that mirror work, sit with yourself, date yourself, be intentional with yourself, acknowledge your feelings, your experiences, and put in motion a plan to support yourself. So see yourself first. Nobody's going to see you first until you do. Secondly, curate your particular environment that will uplift you and encourage you. Whether, like I said, it's creating an online community, joining YouTube channels, joining Facebook groups for people in that area, expats, whether it's finding creators on TikTok, Instagram, people who can encourage you and support you. Be intentional about curating an environment that uplifts you. And then practice taking up space gently but consistently. It can start by getting out of your own head, noticing other people around you, complimenting them, asking a question in a meeting at work, wearing your hair the way you like it, and making no excuses about it, feeling no guilt about it, just doing it in small and subtle ways. And the last, but probably the most important, is grieve the lack of representation that you are feeling at this time. It's okay. That's how you feel. It's valid. But don't stop there. Build your voice anyway. Build your presence anyway, because it is needed for you, for sure, first and foremost, and also for others around you. You may not be aware are being influenced by you actually taking space and speaking up. So yeah, do it. Build that presence. And that's it, guys. That's it for today. I seriously hope you found some value in this video. And to the Black woman who's starting over, a little bit shy, a little bit reserved, a little bit apprehensive, starting over at 35, 39, 42, I see you. I am you. And I want you to know it's going to be just fine. You're okay. This is part of the process. Allow it. And allow yourself to get to the other side to see how beautiful life really can get for someone like you. I sincerely hope you understand that your softness is not weakness and your quietness is not absence. Your story is unfolding one page at a time, sometimes one sentence at a time, sometimes one word at a time. And that is sacred. That is your journey. That is your story. Own it. Take it in, live it. We need to hear it. So yeah, guys, that's it. I would really love to hear your thoughts, your experiences. Are you going through a major transition? Are you a woman who's still finding her voice later in life, finding her place in society, feeling, alone, feeling like the only one in the room, in the building, in whatever capacity? Leave it in the comments. Let me know what you're going through, what you're experiencing. Or if you're someone who's gone through this already, we'd love to hear how you overcame it, what your experience was like, what worked for you. Let's help each other. We're family here, so we support and help each other. And again, if you're new and you're wondering what this channel is all about, who this lady is, click on the Start Here video. I'll tag it here, but click on that video and just learn a little bit more about why we're here. And if this touched you, if this message touched you, please, all I ask is that you share it with another sister, another friend, someone you know it will be a blessing and a gift for them. Leave a like so that other people, the video gets traction and other people like you and me can find it. Leave a comment, share it, subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you so much. And I'm so excited for the direction this channel is taking. Look out for content every Wednesday. I've committed to that, guys. I've committed, and I will make it work. I want to do this for us. I want to do it for me, for you, and for our growth, our transitions, because we deserve it. And so yeah, thank you for being here on this journey with me. And until next time, remember, life is beautiful and you have time.